This man woke up to find that his furniture had begun to rot at the speed of light. First the refrigerator and then the floor. Even the ceiling had a big hole in it. The man was so scared that he ran out of the room. But then he meets a strange old man. He asked the old man what had happened. But the old man turned around and only had half a head. The man was almost scared to pee his pants. After running out of the building after 6 floors in one breath, he still hadn't recovered from what he had just seen. But what he saw next, the man's mind went blank. Not only the pedestrians passing by, even all the buildings in front of him were full of brokenness. They were all broken and upside down. It's like an essay on what society looks like after the world is destroyed. This man's name was Victor. He seemed to remember that he was an architect, looking at the sights from all over the world gathered in front of him, and the very distinctive landmarks. He wondered if he had traveled through time, or whether he was still dreaming. But as he watched the buildings slowly dissipate, he subconsciously put his hand to his ear, and then remembered its original appearance. The building that was dissipating was miraculously restored, but before he could catch his breath, he saw a black liquid appear on the roof not far away. As the liquid fell to the ground, it transformed into the shape of a monster. The monsters pounced on Victor. Victor was knocked to the ground by the force of it. He even got a gash on his head. At that moment, several strange faces appeared in front of him. They woke Victor up. After confirming that Victor was the one they were looking for, they dragged him away and started running. But no sooner had they gone a few steps than there was no way out. Behind them were monsters of unknown fear. In front of him was a bottomless void. Before Victor could make a choice, the man behind him didn't even think twice before he pushed Victor down. After a moment of weightlessness, Victor didn't fall to pieces. He managed to land on the other side without a scratch. Before he could see what was in front of him, he was dragged by several people to continue to escape. The scene in front of him was familiar yet unfamiliar. Victor's mind became even more confused because he didn't know what had happened. And because of his injuries, Victor's movements were always one step slower than others. The stranger used gravity and anti-gravity to pull himself around, to come and go directly between various buildings, but Victor couldn't. As he stood still, they yelled at him to jump. Just as the monster was catching up with him, Victor could only try, but it was the first time he'd ever done it, so he couldn't control the direction. He was hanging on the edge of the building. After the man in charge pulled Victor up by the hand, he takes on the task of stopping the monster. He raised his gun and fired at the monster. The monster was knocked down with great power, but the monster was not destroyed. They were like cockroaches. The monsters continued to pursue them. They panicked and came to the rooftop. The monster also smelled the smell and chased after them, but seeing that the monster has cut off their path, he took out a bomb from his bag as if he had made up his mind. Then he gave the leader a look. The woman next to him realized what he wanted to do. She rushed to stop him, but only by sacrificing himself could he win a chance for the others to survive. With the loud sound of the explosion, the monster was turned into black water, but because of the weightlessness, the black water didn't spill on the ground. The black water filled the air. A series of strange things made Victor couldn't help but ask, but they didn't answer his questions, although he didn't know where to go next, but at least it was safer than staying here. Then they hiked down a highway. When they saw that the monster wasn't following them, and the woman who was with them began to explain to Victor why he was here. The female teammate said her name was Lisa, and then she told Victor, he's pretty much an ideology these days. The real Victor should be lying somewhere in a hospital, and in a deep coma, and now they see this world. It's a subconscious world built from the dreams of all comatose people.